So is this a result of hard work in the gym? Are you genetically gifted? You know, some people are born taller, bigger. Like, were you a big guy in school? How does that go about? Because you started with the football team. You're now on rugby. Is that right?
Yeah, so with rugby, I'm actually I had the opportunity to be able to learn the sport, to practice with the guys, and even play like a little sevens tournament with them.
Yeah.
But I am like going to be turning away from rugby as well.
Okay.
I'm pursuing another opportunity in Calgary, which is what I was just talking to your friend about a little bit.
Yep.
And so that's what we're going. We're going back to football, and it's just in a different space now, you know. And if you want to talk to a woman, you come at it respectfully, because as you understand, is this person is a human being too, right? Hollering it across the street, like, what is that going to do?
Yeah.
You know, if you pop over to across the street, you know, you ask for their name, you introduce yourself, speak respectfully, you know.
Yeah.
And if whatever that happens, if she rejects you, you take it on the chin, like, no problem. I wish you a lovely day. Have a good one. That's it.
Yeah.
And if anything happens, stems from that, then bless. But we're all human beings. We're all people with individual thoughts, you know.
Absolutely.
To be able to like judge them or to be able to throw stuff at their body, you know, it's like that's shit. That's their person. You have no right to be able to just portray negative feelings or any type of energy towards this person just because they're not you. Everyone wants to feel supported. Everyone wants to feel loved. So when you sit with that, knowing that there's not enough love in this world, I sit with that. How do I want to operate? How do I want to move with that? You know? Yeah. So there are a lot of things that I take care of or I think on. Disrespect can be coming my way, but knowing that I can never hate any people because I understand why they hate me. People want to hate me before they try to understand me, but it's okay. I can still love them. I love them because I understand them, and they can never hate. I can never hate them because I understand them. I understand why they hate me, but it's all good. It's all love, you know? So we have things that we have to achieve in our life, things that we want, right? And hate is an ugly look, no matter what form it takes. You know that when you pour love and light into people, it just feels good, feels great, sets your soul on fire. Yeah. The moment you add negativity and hate into your heart, you know it just kind of weighs you down. Yeah. So it's like hate in any form that it takes is ugly. And I ain't trying to be ugly. Yeah. But I'm just trying to be me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VoV podcast, Voices of Vic. Today I am here with varsity athlete King Hoang. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Hey, yo, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, man.
So you're friends with Jack Mason, Longevity Penguin. This is a former episode. Anytime that there's a connection from a current guest to a former guest, I kind of like to tie that in. Yeah. So we're going to get into you a ton, but maybe just introduce by how do you know Jack? How are you connected to him? I think that's how you came across this podcast. So
yeah, I was on. I know that I was on Instagram for a little bit. This was like last summer, I believe, and I saw one of his Instagram reels. Right, it was him doing push-ups right behind like the field hockey fields. Yep. Right, I saw him and I recognized it immediately. I'm like, wait a minute. I know where that place is. So I sent him a DM real quick and let him know that, like, hey, yo, look, I know where this reel was taken. Like, are you a U of T student? Learning about what he was and what he's already been doing. Like, his page was already popping. Yeah. You know? And so I was really surprised to just kind of be able to connect with another student who really had that drive and motivation to be the best version of himself. Yeah. And not only for himself, but to be able to spread that message to others. And so me making that connection with Jack, I wanted to be able to connect with him and pour my energy into what he was doing and like vice versa. And we were able to work together, and he used me as like just a model or so, just to kind of, you know, just so that he's not filming himself, but he has another like person that he could film. Yeah. And now, you know, we did a couple of reels together, worked together a little bit, and now he's off to the races, you know. He's out in the world. He's pouring his energy in other spaces, and I couldn't be more proud of him. So, you know, he's flying now.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And you'd be a good guy for it because you're built. You're big. You're big.
I appreciate it. Hold on. Let me turn it down.
Yeah, no worries. 2 phones. Yeah, professional.
One is for like normal use, and the other one I've been using to like record stuff because like just for gym content, or when I was in Vietnam, like I spent some time recording that too. So 2 phones gave me. There could have been a better way to do it. Yeah. But
I hear you. So is this a result of hard work in the gym? Are you genetically gifted? You know, some people are born taller, bigger. Like, were you a big guy in school? How does that go about? Because you started with the football team. You're now on rugby. Is that right?
Yeah, so like with rugby, I'm actually, I had the opportunity to be able to learn the sport, to practice with the guys, and even play like a little sevens tournament with them. Yeah. But I am like going to be turning away from rugby as well. Okay. I'm pursuing another opportunity in Calgary, which is what I was just talking to your friend about a little bit. Yep. And so that's what we're going. We're going back to football, and just in a different space now.
That's good.
Yeah.
How did you get introduced to the sport? What got you started into it?
I was in high school, and I was playing soccer all the way up to grade 10. Yep. I started working out when I was in grade 9. I was like a bigger kid, but like I enjoyed lifting. And then when I started losing weight from there, I was like 210, dropped to like 205, 200. Then I realized I was losing weight by working out, so I just kind of stuck with it. Yep. By the time I hit grade 11, I was getting too big for soccer, and I had a lot of friends who was already on the football team. Yeah. I put a little Facebook video on me bench pressing 2 plates one time, and the coach got really excited, and so he grabbed me out of like just while I think it was just like after school practice or something. I just wanted to show up, and he grabbed me and put me in a linebacker position, and that's when I just fell in love with the sport, and to be able to continue to train and continue to pour my energy in a space where I could really be physical and just do my thing. It gave me the opportunity to be able to be this man I am now.
That's good. That's good. And it's not, that's the thing, football's not very big in Canada, but you say you were benching 2 plates. Was that in, you said grade 11?
That was in grade 11.
I can't bench 2 plates now. I've been at the gym for a decent amount of time. I'm still working towards it, but that's insane.
It really is. When I talk to young men about, like, when they ask me about how I do things and how I got to where I am, I give them about 2 pieces, just 2 pieces of 2 words, is mentality and consistency. Okay. You know, if you train 3-4 times a week, even 3 times a week, that's fine. Like, that's the consistency. That's what's important. But the mentality is what I feel like separates a lot of people from the results that you want. When I step into the gym, it's my place to conquer. It's my domain. It's where I come to do my work. Yeah. I'm not trying to discredit anybody else from doing their work, you know? Yeah. But that mentality is that vision for yourself and what you want out of your life, and when in that gym, in that space. I think of it almost like it's a facility of utilities that I can use. These are all tools made to shape yourself. Yeah. And so when you step into this space, regardless of how people feel about you, how they see you, the extra stuff that you may be doing. And I do some crazy stuff in the gym just because my vision has me doing these things so that I can shape my body to be physically capable, to be in sports, in life. Yep. So, and for me, that's how I view myself, to be physically capable as a man, spiritually strong, mentally strong, physically strong. So the physical stuff is what I'm trying to take care of on top of a bunch of other things. You know?
That's good. That's good. And we'll get more into all that stuff, spirituality, being authentic, all this type of stuff I want to talk to you about. But to circle more on the duo, I guess the pair of consistency and mentality, if you have both, you kind of get what you have now. Mm-hmm. What do you think someone would look like? I'm not even saying physically. I mean just the character of a person who only has one. Let's say if you're only consistent without the mentality, what is that? Like, what's the result from that? If you only have mentality but no consistency, what does that look like too? Just kind of to break it down.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So if we, let's say, I'll think of it on the spot right now, right? It's like if you only have mentality, you have the drive of wanting to get where you want to get, right? Yeah. But if you only do it like once a month, let's say you want to start losing weight, you want to build a project, right? You're all gung-ho about wanting to get to the next step. Like, you got it. Like, this is you. But you only do it like once a month. You don't put enough time, or you don't set enough space or attention to devote yourself to that said project or whatever you seem so passionate about, right? So it's like you could sit on a couch and be like, I want to be an NBA player. I want to be the next professional athlete. Like, that's the mentality. I want to get that done. But you are not moving. You're static, and so that's that lack of consistency. So then the consistency side is like, oh, now you want to do things 3, 4, 5 times a week, but your mentality is when you step into the space, you're not devoting that right amount of effort and work into it. Is that you show up, maybe put minimal effort, and then you leave, right? You go to practice, you do things, you go to work, you just put in your hours, you work every day, right? Let's say you go to work every single day for 8 hours, right? That's consistency right there.
Yep.
But if you, within those 8 hours, what are you doing? Like, how are you spending that time, I guess, you know? If you're not focused, if you're not loving your work, it'll turn into a drag.
Absolutely.
So
I hear you. What do you think about that aspect of loving your work? Like, because I hear a lot about, especially when you're young, because there's more flexibility and you can try to set your life up in a way where you are doing your passion, right? Where you're working in an area that you love. I think it's easier. I guess this could be debatable. I would say that it's easier now to work in your passion than it was, say, 50 years ago, and even more before that. So when we look at, let's say, our parents' generation, do you think that I feel like they weren't raised in a time where passion was really too much of a consideration? It was more, what does the market need? What will reward me the most for my efforts? So, like, the people who are in positions, do you think that there are things that are preventing people from working in their passion? Like, that is the dream life. Yeah. But is it feasible? Is it possible for everybody?
Yeah. I think it's, well, I'm Vietnamese, and my parents escaped the war. And so then when they popped over here, that was one of the things that what you just touched on, is that they had no time to pursue. Their passion, whatever they wanted to do in their life, they couldn't do because they had to spend their time making money and going to work, providing for their family, and creating the future for them right there. Now we know that, like, there's so many jobs out here, right? I think I grew up knowing that, like, the route was to go through school, the institutions, through the power structures, get that piece of paper, get that piece of false value that these institutions want to give you, not knowing that, like, I tell people that you are valuable before you even touch that paper. Individually, you're powerful, you're amazing, you're great. To give them this paper, now you're valuable to the power structures, and now you can go off to work. You know, that's what a lot of parents want their kids to go down. If you're not trying to be a doctor, lawyer, or something like that, I feel like that's different. If you want to go into that route, like doctor, lawyer, like those kind of like high-rise jobs, like I think that makes sense, that why you need this education. But me being a philosophy major, you know, I'm an art student, and like, what am I going to do with a philosophy degree? That's just me going through it. But now we realize there's so many different things that we can do, right? And it really comes down to how much you really want it, you know? And I know that sounds really cliche to say. It's like, if you really wanted it, you would go out and get it. But it really comes down to knowing that each person has that power to create any reality that you want, right? And like, that's just a little bit, like, you elevate your energy to the reality that you want to create, not for anybody else, but what you want out of your life. So understanding that as the individual, you're capable of so many great things. It's all about belief, you know, and your surroundings. Maybe you just need someone else to believe in you to get you started. I
hear you. This is what Tony Robbins said. He said, change happens when the pain of moving is worse than the pain of staying still. And that's completely true. I think when you talk about, like, mentality, and it's like, it's how much you want it. When someone is not in the position that they would like to be in, I think I just see that as they don't want it enough, right? And they're more comfortable staying still than they are moving. And that's when change happens. It's just a law of the universe, that the reason that you're not pushing yourself towards the place that you want to get to is because maybe it's not even the pain that it'll take, but it's the perceived pain. Maybe you think it's going to be really hard and stressful and uncertain, so you kind of stay in your box, and, you know, you go down the path that is laid out for you: university, graduate, work in an office building, whatever you want to do, right? And people kind of just very passively get into that space. But you mentioned you're a philosophy major, and you're like, what am I going to do with a philosophy degree? Did you come into university knowing you wanted to study philosophy, or was this just something like, did this realization that, you know, your value is already intrinsic within you before university, did you realize that while you were here, or did you know that coming in?
No, I definitely learned that, like, through the duration of my academic career here. The reason why I went into philosophy right at the beginning of my university career was because I had a really good philosophy teacher in high school. He made philosophy seem so fun. Like, the way that a lot of the students looked at him a little kind of cuckoo, looked at him kind of weird just because he was just so extravagant with his words and his energy. Yeah. And I felt like now that I've been through like the philosophy path and gone down, I could actually understand as to why he's like that. When you realize certain things, when you understand certain things, right? Energy is everything, you know. When you learn that like philosophy is really just the exchange of perspectives and conversation, you know, kind of like what we're doing. This is exactly what we're doing right now.
100%.
Right. That the texts and the old English and all the words, what people try to focus on saying that's the negative part. But it's like when you understand that it really is to learn about perspectives, other perspectives, and to be able to shape your own, right? To read this and to be able to dissect these arguments and to kind of like go through your mind and how would you work those out. It really just kind of helps you with critical thinking and just shaping yourself. And as you can shape your body, I feel like philosophy allows you to shape your mind. Yeah, 100%.
And I want to kind of get deeper into you. I want to understand you a little bit more. Did you always consider yourself like a philosopher by nature? Was it something that maybe your high school teacher introduced to you, or do you think that like as a kid even, were you a curious kid? Because for me, I always loved asking questions about stuff, about the most random stuff. I'd ask my parents, because my parents are the people I trusted the most, right? Every kid would trust their parents the most out of anybody, but well, ideally. But is that something that you had when you were young? Is that something that guided you into philosophy? Like, do you always have these questions that you want answered about the world, or not really?
I think it really kind of like my conscious mind really kind of came about like the last year or last couple years, you know. Coming into university, like my focus was like football, and then philosophy was like the byproduct, and school, the degree would have been the byproduct of football. So I poured all my energy into my training, which resulted me in being able to come to U of T, right? And so during that time is mental fortitude, it's physical work. So I felt like through those years is like I poured nothing but I've been sharpening my mind, my body during that time, and then I kind of allowed philosophy to just kind of reinforce a couple of things, right? Especially like the study of Stoicism, right? To be able to just be in control of what you can control, right? Not hating for what life throws at you, but being grateful and loving for it and trying to moving with it, rolling with the punches, you know? But philosophy is just such a broad understanding of certain things. You can never cover everything, you know? But I think I definitely was able to connect with what philosophy means to me. And so that's why I'm able to carry myself the way I am. I'm not like the crazy best student. I'm not the best student at all.
That's fair.
You know, but to be able, when I sit down with these texts and able to just read them, it hurts the mind too.
Oh, yeah.
But it feels kind of good though. Yeah. Because it's like, if you hadn't read these texts or you hadn't had these conversations, you never would have been able to continue to shape your mind. You know, and that's how we grow as people. That's how communities grow, how societies grow, through conversation, to be able to sit down at a table and to exchange conflicting perspectives. Those conversations are still uncomfortable, but it's even more needed, you know, because if you leave yourself in your bubble, surround yourself with yes men, how could you grow, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when, this is why I hear from certain people that love debate, and it's that when talking ends is when the bad stuff starts, is when wars start. It's when, wars, conflicts, any of this type of stuff is when people stop negotiating and talking to each other, when everything goes silent. Same with a marriage. When the husband and the wife stop talking, that's when the divorce is going to happen. So it's important to have these disagreements and to voice the disagreements. I obviously try to promote discussion and diversity of thought, because a lot of people care about diversity of basically, I feel like everything else except for thought. Everyone enjoys hearing people agree with them. They don't want to listen to the people who have opposing views. Whenever we have someone on this podcast who says something controversial, we always get heat for it. Expected. I mean, this is why there's a comment section. I'm trying to get people to talk. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because sitting, and especially with social media, because it's divided people even further out to the extremes. So it's crazy. But your parents are Vietnamese. Yeah. How has that culture, do you think, influenced your way of thinking in terms of philosophy, but just how you see the world in general? Because you were born in Canada?
Yeah, I was born in Canada, So Yeah, my parents are Vietnamese. Growing up, you know, my parents, like realizing this now, I'm 25 years old, and I think I had a lot of time to really think about growing up around my parents and being separated from my parents because of school and everything. Yeah. Knowing what they were going through, you know, learning a little bit through what my dad went through like come up with the university courses that I was able to take, like Vietnamese histories, right? Learning about like him growing up, seeing nothing but like dead bodies throughout his time, trying to escape Vietnam, escape by boat. The boat people, like that's no joke, you know, like trying to survive on a tiny boat with like a bunch of other people, not being able to drink water, just trying to survive, right? Like I'll skip all the like the horrific details, but they went through a lot of things in order to get here, right? And then what happened? They had to go straight to work, right? Yeah. And so they didn't have no time to heal from their trauma, suffering, nothing. You know, it's what do I say? Generational trauma, right? And no one taught them how to be parents either, right? No one taught them how to raise kids. They just had to have kids, and so they raised them right from the get-go. You know, they were experiencing life for the first time, just like all of us. You know, and so the stuff that they had to do in order to take care of us, right? Like, I mean, I think every Asian kid got beat up. We got beat. Discipline. That's just how it is. You know, like not saying that like we do this now. It's just that's just how things worked in Vietnam, like, you know, or like in Asian countries. That's just how they discipline their kids, you know. But now that we know better, so the vibe is different. The generation that I'm growing up in, like my people who was born here, like my Vietnamese people and Asian people born here, we know better, right? Sure. But, you know, leading up to it is that like you go through a lot of things when you have parents who've been through war and know nothing but that and trying to raise children, you know. And so, but knowing that is that I definitely carry a sense of pride when I hear my parents' stories, is that they sacrificed so much in order to give me the opportunities that I have now. Yeah. So that's why when I play football, when I go through life, whatever I want to pursue, whether it could be a McDonald's job, it was Tim Hortons went for a little bit. It doesn't matter wherever I go, is that because I recognize the opportunities that my parents have given me, I go all out. I pour all my energy into it. So when I play football, that has given me the avenue to do just that. Is that when I step on the field, I'm looking to dog any guy in front of me. Yeah. I'm looking to dominate any competition in front of me, just because like my parents gave me this opportunity to do exactly just that, and to make the most out of the opportunities, you know. And there's not a lot of Vietnamese people in the spaces that I occupy. So then I carry that with me too, because all I see are white faces, black faces, brown faces, you know, just guys who are like just not in my culture. That's it. They're not Vietnamese. I'm the only Vietnamese guy in these spaces. And so as I continue to do my work, I do also keep in mind that there are also my family, other Vietnamese people who look up to me when I lift, I train, I play football, wherever I go. So it's I know I'm different. So I know when I go to places, it's just different. It's kind of taken a while for me to just kind of recognize that. But I want to make the most out of any opportunity that I'm given and go all out, because we have one life to live, and you have all the energy in the world. Whatever you want, you can have it. It is yours. It will be yours if you want it really to be. You know, you elevate your energy to the reality that you want to create. And if this is the reality that you for real want, the vision that you want and have placed in front of you, it will be yours.
Respect.
You know?
Respect. That's awesome. The sport in Vietnam, what is it, soccer?
There's like so many other sports. Like there's badminton. I think soccer is sometimes one of them. Badminton is really big. Okay. Any sport that doesn't really like, it doesn't like, it's so tough back there, man. Like, you know, the kids in school, they play sports, whatever it be, badminton, basketball, but no one plays sports like outside. Okay. There are like actually rugby teams playing in Vietnam, but like I haven't had the chance to dive into that. But like the youth, the Vietnamese youth, they spend all their time working at school. So the sports, it's different. There are sports. Common. It is. There are sports. It's just so tough when you're born and raised there if you want to be a professional athlete. Got it. You know. I hear
you. So something that Jack praised you about when I was asking him, I was like, so who are some big inspirations to you in terms of just, you know, hustle, motivation, masculinity, all this type of stuff? I was expecting him to give some like celebrity names or like guys that maybe a lot of us have heard of. But one of the guys he mentioned was you. Mm-hmm. So he was talking about, King, when we're at the gym. First of all, actually, King is an awesome first name. I want to just mention that.
Appreciate you, brother.
So that's, I'm super jealous of that one. But he was mentioning, in the gym, when you start talking about these types of things about masculinity, guys congregate around you and you kind of share some wisdom to these people, and they're there to listen to it. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a group of random guys. It's a group of guys who are already working out at the gym. And these guys are some of the most motivated people because they're showing up basically every day and working on themselves, and they're still taking the time to listen to what you have to say. So I find that pretty impressive. We're going to get more into masculinity, but I want to ask, talking about your parents. Yeah. Did you take a lot from your father? Did he teach you about masculinity? Do you get it from him? Do you get it from elsewhere? Is it a mix of both? Like how do you?
Yeah, like I would say that like when I could say like my dad is definitely a man. You know, he sacrificed everything in order to provide for his family. You know, I'm saying that he didn't heal from his trauma, right? I'm not saying that he's a perfect person, but when he had to be a man to protect and to provide for us, to create that safe space for us, to make sure that we could be fed and to have all the resources that we needed, right, to be successful, right, that's exactly what he did. Yeah. And that's what kind of stems from me understanding what a man is to be, you know. The man and women relationship is absolutely beautiful, you know. When I speak to women about this too, like who I connect with, is that the willingness of a man to be able to get his hands dirty first, you know, that's what's important. Is that like whoever you decide to surround yourself with, like your partner, whoever you want to have beside you, the understanding is that you're going to put your hands in the dirt first, that you're going to get money first, is that you're willing to put in the work first. So that way, whatever she wants to add to you will be a blessing and be able to add to you and just make you even better. Because women make men better. Yeah. Like, you know, women just make men better. When we have someone that we love and we care about, it just elevates our game. It's that like, oh, now I have someone in my space that I want to take care of. Not need, but I want to, right? And so it's like, you'll hold the door open. You'll like make sure that she's eating, that you're checking up on her. Like you'll do things. You'll be better, right? So like the man creates the house, the woman creates the home. You know, like the man is like natural inclination, primal instincts to go out, to dominate, to conquer, to run the world, to do anything your heart's desire. You know, like that, like you're made to conquer. You know, men do. We just live in a space where it's tough to do that.
Right. Yeah.
But when you come home, right, the woman is almost just your partner, your friend is there to welcome you, to help you like clean up your wounds, anything that you ran out, like, and gives you a space for you to like rest, you know, as you give that space to her, because you create a space like when a man is in his masculine power for real, that we create a space where when you in our space, you good. You know, like a man is masculine power, loves and builds and dominates and conquers. It's that balance that I speak of, you know, is that a man has to be able to understand his light as he understands his darkness. A man is conquering, dominant, powerful, and the other side of the scale is that he's also loving, able to build, support, and to be able to find that balance. That's what I speak for these young men, is to find your balance, you know. And so when the woman's in your space, they could be all giddy and loving, like when a woman feels safe, that's a beautiful sight, because she feels safe, she feels protected, she's in a space where she can for real be herself. And when women get like that, they get so silly, it's so beautiful, it's so, you know, it's like, oh, what you know.
Yeah, absolutely,
right. And so that's why like people move differently when masculine men aren't wandering the streets right now. It's like women are faced with harassment, all kinds of things. There's a reason why women can't just pop out in dresses no more like that. One, it is cold out, but even in the summer, right, where if masculine men walk the streets, good masculine men, strong masculine men, all women would be safe, right? They'd be able to do whatever they wanted because they'd be doing good things, nothing but great things, and men would just be men, just focusing and doing our work. You know, and if you want to talk to a woman, you come at it respectfully, because as you understand, this person is a human being too, right? hollering at across the street. Like, what is that going to do?
Yeah.
You know, if you pop over to across the street, you know, you ask for their name, you introduce yourself, speak respectfully, you know.
Yeah.
And if whatever that happens, if she rejects you, you take it on the chin, like, no problem. I wish you a lovely day. Have a good one. That's it.
Yeah.
And if anything happens, stems from that, then bless. But we're all human beings. We're all people with individual thoughts, you know.
Absolutely.
To be able to, like, judge them or to be able to throw stuff at their body, you know, it's like, that's their person. You have no right to be able to just portray negative feelings or any type of energy towards this person just because they're not you, you know. Then that's the thought of spirituality and all that stuff.
Absolutely. That's really good. That was good. I'm going to make sure this camera's doing okay. We're still good. Okay.
Word.
Awesome. So something that we hear a lot about is the gender wars and how men and women, I feel, are getting more and more divided than they ever used to be. And obviously, as men, I think a lot of guys don't actually understand this. Maybe I shouldn't say obviously, but as men, the one thing we can change is ourselves. There's a lot of guys, I think, out here nowadays, you see these podcasts where they're trying to change women, and the brand is focused on fixing women.
Right.
But that seems like a lack of self-accountability to a degree, because I think if all men were good, as you say, right now we're in a state where there are few good men, a lot of weak men, and few good women, and a lot of I don't mean weak women, but like bad women. Okay?
Well, like it would literally be both, right? It's like both. I would say we're all part of the problem.
This is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, is that if it was all good men, by extension, I think you would have all good women.
Yeah.
I think that if men took self-accountability more, because that's all we can't try to, as you said, we were talking about stoicism. The only things you can affect is basically your own thoughts and how you react to situations, how you respond to situations. So if all the men were more self-accountable, if there was a little more respect in the world and all these types of things, there would be no behavior from women that these podcast guys are trying to attack and go against. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that is important. So that aside, this is something I talked about with my friend Daniel. I basically told him that if I was to write a book, it would be called From Monkeys to Meerkats. He's like, what the hell does that mean? I'm like, let me explain. So in the 50s, okay, maybe even earlier, back then, men were born, and I see them more as monkeys, because when you're born as a man, you don't really have much value. You have to build yourself up from the ground, and you have to climb as high as you can, like a monkey would climb a tree, right? And you're in competition with other men to, be either get a really good job, be physically strong, be more in touch emotionally with your wife. Yeah. All these types of things that men have to work on. Now, instead of monkeys, I see the men today as meerkats. Meerkats, the little like things that pop their head out of the dirt in the African savannah.
Oh, so, wait. Okay. All right. Okay.
So instead of a monkey who climbs, I think now men just need to pop their heads out of the dirt, because there's so many societal issues that are affecting men that if you just avoid all that, you're already above most of the competition. So if you don't smoke weed, if you're not addicted to porn, if you aren't addicted to video games or social media or all these types of things. There's just so many things. If you're not eating McDonald's 24/7, if you avoid all this BS, then you are basically in the top 20% of men already. Yeah. It's insane. So my advice is basically just to avoid the bullshit. But if you had to take a man, not a man at that point, if you had to take a boy who is trying to build himself into a man and to being someone that's more respectful, but he's facing so much pressure from maybe the world, he feels like he can't escape the weed or the porn or all of this stuff, because this is a lot of the problems that men are dealing with. Yeah. What would you say to that guy? What are the practical steps to getting from point A, which is being a boy, to being a man that people respect?
So I guess it starts with knowing first is that like where you sit right now, everywhere else, the external, you could be surrounded by all kinds of negative energy. It doesn't matter be weed, porn, people, any negative energy exists outside. Knowing that, like, let's say everywhere is negative, right? You cannot allow yourself to be negative, right? Is that so? I say this that with a philosophical quote. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't know it for sure. But like Pascal said that all of humanity's problems consist of I'm going to say that again. All of humanity's problems consist of a man not being able to sit alone in his room with his thoughts. When you talk about wanting to find yourself, you want to be like, oh, how do I get stronger? What do I do? It's that we're all so connected by everything, you know, is that laptops, iPads, phones, FOMO, you know, what my friends do, I want to go out with them. It must be nice. It must be nice. Yeah. But the moment you decide to sit with yourself and to really take in all these negative energies around you, knowing that like these exist whether you exist or not, right? These are all things that are here to penetrate your mind, to stop you from achieving your higher self, right? So it's like, I know it sounds crazy to just say, but it's like you have to just sit with yourself, you know, allow yourself to feel all your emotions, your negativity, all your pain, sit through your trauma and understand your value as a person, you know, because none of that stuff that you listed is going to go away, right? How you decide to carry yourself as an individual is the way that you should be dealing with it. Not looking outwardly, but looking inward. You know, because for me, I could go wherever I want, because as an energetic person, as just the being who I am, as I love, I want to build, I want to create, and I want to pour my energy into spaces. And I carry myself in a way where it's like, I don't really need anybody to be able to do that for me, because I would appreciate it. Like it's a blessing for you to pour into me. But the willingness of me trying to pour light, love and light into the universe first, you know, that's what I sit with, you know. So knowing that like all these things just exist around us, you know, to take us away from it, like just to pinpoint yourself in another direction. Sometimes it really be what it is, but it really comes down to that inner reflection. And I don't know if it comes with age. Sometimes it may come with experience, you know. But when the man decides to actually separate himself from everything and understand that none of these things actually matter, and to sit with themselves with his thoughts. That's a scary feeling too. Pain is part of growth, and growth is uncomfortable, you know. And so it's like if you say like, oh, it just hurts, it's like, yo, that's to live is to suffer. You know, to survive is to find meaning behind the suffering. Right. And those are just a couple quotes that that's a quote that I sit with, is that when you're saying like, oh, it hurts, oh, it's too much, that's when you know you're growing, you know. Because if you weren't in pain, if you weren't uncomfortable, like not saying that you have to go through exertion of physical work to feel this pain, but it's like any kind of pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, those are all part of your growth. You know, each and every person has mountains placed in front of them, but those mountains were made for you, right? Because once you climb, what happens when you climb up that mountain? Boom, there's another one right in front of you. But these mountains were created for you to go through trials, to prepare you for what's coming to you, right? Because if you understood what was coming to you as an individual, each and every person, when you understand how much great things are coming towards you, then you would be able to go up that path, right? But you don't know. But you know that there is something coming, so you got to go through it, you know. But the uncertainty of knowing how much great things are coming, you just got to go through it anyway. I see it. I see it amongst everybody. I see the best in people. Like, look, if you know what was coming towards you, you would be running up that mountain. You know, it's like if you understood how great you are.
You're good. You're good. That's my camera. But I'll finish up your point. We'll take a break.
If you understood how great and amazing, how powerful you are as an individual, as I could see you and any person that I am able to interact with, you'd get excited too.
Absolutely.
You know, I get excited for people because it's like, if you don't know your worth, if you don't know how much you can do, like I do, anything you want, the reality that you want to create, it will be yours. You know, that's just what I speak for. I speak power to people. Is knowing that like, sometimes you just need an external source to let you know about certain things about yourself, because you could sit with yourself and your thoughts and like it can be all negative, but if you add another perspective, another being with individual thought and pour energy into this person and let you know that how valuable, how great and amazing you are, that's just the basis, right? That support. Everyone wants to feel supported. Everyone wants to feel loved. So when you sit with that, knowing that there's not enough love in this world, I sit with that. How do I want to operate? How do I want to move with that? you know?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that I take care of or I think on. Disrespect can be coming my way, but knowing that I can never hate any people because I understand why they hate me. People want to hate me before they try to understand me, but it's okay. I can still love them. I love them because I understand them, and they can never hate. I can never hate them because I understand them. I understand why they hate me, but it's all good. It's all love, you know? So we have things that we have to achieve in our life, things that we want, right? And hate is an ugly look, no matter what form it takes. You know that when you pour love and light into people, it just feels good, feels great, sets your soul on fire.
Yeah.
The moment you add negativity and hate into your heart, it just kind of weighs you down. Yeah. So it's like hate in any form that it takes is ugly. And I ain't trying to be ugly. Yeah. But I just trying to be me, you know?
I hear you. We'll take a quick 5-minute break, jump right back into
Word.
Get back. Quick camera break. Decently long camera break,
Good.
actually. We're good. We were talking about hate, and you were saying, like, when people send hate towards you, you respond with love. This is something that is very difficult to do, I would say. It just happened the other day. I'm not exactly sure what his name was, but there was a bishop in Australia. His name's Mari Emanuel, I think is his name. Got stabbed while doing this live stream in his church. And he's been recovering, and he responded to the attacker, who, it was a kid. It was like a 16-year-old kid that went and stabbed him. He responded to the attacker by saying, "You're my son, and I love you, and I hope the best for you," something along those lines. Yeah. Which is crazy when you see that. I'm like, how does someone have this sort of forgiveness? So I want to ask, like, what is the logic train that you go through in your head to respond to negativity with positivity? And does it always work? Because sometimes, like, the argument would be made that if someone wrongs you, you make sure that they learn a lesson. Maybe someone else who wants to wrong you again will not do it because, oh, look what happened to the last guy. Yeah. That would be responding with negativity, but you don't do that necessarily. So what like, walk me through why you respond that way. Why do you respond with love?
Yeah, I think through what you just brought up, I already have a couple points on how I would go about that, or why I go about these things. Is that, like, first of all, is that, like, as an individual, when you're doing things, when I'm doing things, I'm just only trying to be the best version of me, to create the vision that I want for myself, to love, to build, to support my people that I decide to create within my circle, to pop in my circle, Yeah. I know that any negativity that I get thrown at is not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on them, It's more so, it's like they just didn't go through what I go through. And for them to hate that, it's like, if you understood what I had to go through in order to be the person I can be, then in that moment, I know that you would understand and love why I was doing the way I'm doing, It's because we don't know what each of us go through, is that it's easy to hate, right? People hate before they try to understand people. It's very much easy to hate people before they try to understand them. Got it. I continue to pour love and light into this universe, knowing that, like, I have other things to do. Yeah. I got better things to do than to hate on people, to pour negativity into people, And, like, I'm not, like, religious. I'm a bit more spiritual person, but I derive the story as to just from, like, Jesus Christ as a being, is that put on the cross, getting tortured, like, been, like, inhumane things done to this body, this person, and yet he still chooses to love, because, as we know, there is never enough love in this world. When you sit with knowing that there is never enough love in this world, each and every person just wants to feel loved. Each and every person wants to feel supported, and that we're all just beings of energy, All these people are just trying to make it, right? So the reason why, and I think this is where it really comes from, is that when I understand that we are all just people that's just trying to make it, the details doesn't matter. I really don't care about the details, because what that means to you is different from what it means to me. Yeah. What I want in my life is different from what you want out of your life. But I understand that it requires all your energy to be able to create that vision, right? You have to go through pain, trauma, suffering to go through the glory that you want to create for your life. So we are all just people just trying to make it, right? And so I'm just trying to do my thing, you trying to do your thing. The reason why you may be hating on me is just I'm willing to just be me more than you're willing to be you.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you are you able to do things that you love doing. You're passionate about things you love, and to be able to do what you love, it sets your soul on fire. For real, you know, so you just want to keep on doing it, you know, and you want to share that gift, right? So what I do, where I go, how I am, it's like because I carry myself in a certain kind of way, I just want to share with people. I just want to connect with people and love them. You know, that's just how I kind of just found my way to do things, because I understand pain, you know. I understand that, like, at the core of my being, I've been hurt, like, really badly. I know that if I could feel pain, I know that each and every person can feel pain. You know, the details don't really matter, but like what hurts you to your core is what has hurt me to my core. Not the exact details, right? But you felt that pain before. Everybody can feel that pain, the potential of feeling that pain. Yeah. So then that's the basis I sit with, is that you can hate me, but I could never hate you. It's because you're just a person that's just trying to make it, right? I have other things that I got to take care of. I have other spaces to pour my energy into. I can only hope for other people to find their love, their light, to find what they're passionate about. I can only hope for them. I can only pray for those people that they could find what makes their life, find meaning in their life, whatever they want to do. I want them to be themselves, to be them for real. That doesn't mean that they have to be around me. I could love people from afar, no problem. But I want everybody to be themselves, because when people are themselves, it's amazing. It's blessed. You see when people are able to do what they really love doing, you see their smiles on their face. You see their energy elevated. You see them skipping up and down, jumping up and down. It's like, I want that for each and every person that I ever interact with. For any person who I don't even interact with. Before I even interact with them, I want that for them. You know, whatever sets your soul on fire, whatever you want to do in your life, whatever vision you want to create, I want that for you, because I know it's good. You know, that's the thing. Because at the core of what you want, you know it's good. You want to create a comfortable life for yourself, your family, your loved ones. And I know that's hard. It takes so much work. It takes so much energy. It's like, it hurts every time you want to try to do it. So then knowing that you're trying to do that, I'm doing the same thing. I'm hurting trying to create my vision too. You're hurting trying to create your vision too. And also, you understand that everybody out here hurting. Everybody's going through so many things, you know. But it's always easy to turn into negativity. So when people hate, it's not me. There's something going on in their lives that they're still trying to sort out, and then for whatever reason, they want to pour negative energy at any kind of source to hopefully make them feel better, and that's fine. You know, for me, I could take that. It's okay. I understand. I love you for that. I love that you're trying to figure out ways to try to find yourself. Even if it results in negative energy first, you can hate me, but I love you. I got better things to do. So that's kind of like that. Like, I love you, but I'm going to go over here and do my thing. There's a savage kind of love that I got too. You know,
I hear you.
It's balance. You know, is that
absolutely.
I've chosen to be like this because I have the decision. Oh, I have the option. I have the intentions. I want to be like this. It easily can be the opposite, you know? But that is not a good look for nobody. Everybody loses. So I want to be able to stick with this route, to be able to love and to support and speak power to people. Because I see the value in people. I see the value in the individual. You know, we may not necessarily know each other personally and know every detail in your life, but in this moment, what is what's important, right? Because when this moment disappears, is gone, then whatever you decide to take from this moment, you continue to grow with it or to throw it off completely. And that's completely valid, you know? It's the moments that I want to appreciate. Because, I mean, I could do this for you, but like, I know that every man has a lot of things in his mind. So much chaos. You know, it's a whirlwind of thoughts. You know, I know that each and every man goes home to his room, turns on YouTube, turns on music, trying to distract himself from all the thoughts in his mind. It's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard being a woman, but it's hard being a man too. I'm acknowledging this for the men, knowing that like we go places and try to pat ourselves on the back. We're just trying to do things, trying to love ourselves in ways, you know? And for me, because I recognize that in these kind of conversations and in these moments, is that I know that you're patting yourself on the shoulder right now But in this moment, when I'm able to converse and connect with any man or any person, is that I put my hand on their shoulder, is that, yo, look, I got you right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There is a space I want to create around me. When I have my house, I want people to turn up in it. When I have my own house, my home, you know, my castle,
Yeah.
I want you to come in, feel good, be you, and you're safe.
Yeah.
You know? Because I'm going to go crazy, you know? And I want you to go crazy with me.
Yeah.
You know? So nothing but loud music, good vibes, good energy, because everywhere in the world can be negative, but the space that I can control, this is what my aura is. This is what I want to pour my energy into, you know?
That's awesome.
And that's just a little bit. Oh my gosh, it go even crazier, you know?
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I think you have good things coming your way. I think that when you put positivity into the world, this is what I think about spirituality, because I'm the same thing. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious yet. I always say yet because maybe one day, who knows? Yeah. But right now, I'm just spiritual. I believe in God. A sad thing that I think is very persistent throughout at least the young generation is the people who like to criticize religion very often have never read the Bible or haven't even looked into these types of things, don't know exactly what it's preaching, maybe have been told something by someone else. It's exactly like my brother says all the time. He works at Dairy Queen, and he still works at Dairy Queen. He was telling me this last year, but he said that there was a staff member, there was another employee that the other staff members had a problem with. And they came to Troy because Troy's very likable. He's a very positive guy. He's kind of like you in that way, but he's very nice to everybody. So he had these friends who were kind of letting him in on, oh, this guy who works with us is rude or he's mean or whatever. And Troy said that maybe he might be. I've never met the guy, so you have to let me have my own chance, my first interaction with him, because I'm not going to make a judgment before I actually get to see the guy one-on-one, talk to him, understand him, as you're trying to say, because people don't understand each other. So I think connecting this back to spirituality, religion, when we talk about Christianity or the Bible or Jesus Christ, a lot of people just haven't taken the time to really understand what the message is in the first place. Mm-hmm. And I think that criticism is completely fair. I'm not trying to say live in a world where nobody makes any critiques. That'd be an awful place to live in. But don't criticize before you understand. Like, it's kind of strange that someone would have a critique when they don't understand. They've been told something, as if my brother, if he made a criticism on this guy before even meeting him, he'd be in the wrong. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very important. But big circling back, I think that a key to spirituality, a key force that I like to describe God as, because when we say God, a lot of people say he, him, we kind of try to, it's almost like humanizing him in that way, but that's not what it means. Like, people, like, it's still, I say him when I talk about God, but it's not a man, it's not a person.
Yeah,
it's power, it's force.
It's a higher being.
It's an energy.
It's an energy.
Exactly.
It's things that how do you comprehend energy?
Exactly.
It flows, it moves, it's there.
Yeah. You can't even understand.
We as humans try to understand things like time, organizing time, like, so that way, if we didn't have time, we'd be so disorganized.
Yeah, exactly.
Humans try to like bring things down in a way that we can understand.
Yes.
But it is beyond our understanding.
Absolutely.
You know?
Fourth dimension.
Yep. Crazy.
Yeah. So the force I try to describe it as is basically, I think it's Newton's second law or Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So when I say I think that you're going to have good things coming your way, is because if you put positivity into the world, or if you put negativity into the world, the exact same energy is going to rebound and come back to you. So the more good you do for others, and the more good you do for your community and for your country and the world as a whole, it's guaranteed to come back to you. And that's how I kind of view God and how I view this energy. Mm-hmm. I think it's very needed. I think that if people took the time to maybe to confront the ideas that they might be uncomfortable with, which is another problem that we have not only with God, but also with like political divides on social media. Like, the algorithm reinforces you with content that you already agree with, just to add to the intensity of your beliefs. Yeah. And people have kind of struggled now with the process of chewing on an idea that they find stressful to think about. And this is exactly what philosophy is. So I think that that we need to try to find a way to reintegrate that habit or that process back into our daily lives, into our normal lives, when we sit down and think. Not only sit down and think with things that will distract us or things that we already know or think to be true, but exactly the opposite, things that we disagree with. How often does someone sit down? How often will a 60-year-old man who loves Fox News sit down to watch CNN?
Yeah.
And it's different when you get to that age. I don't expect older people to do it, but especially when you're young, you have to be able to go through that and listen to every side of the argument. So
I agree. Like, there, with 100 people, 100 different perspectives, 100 truths, right? We all, so like here's the thing, is that like we all grew up differently. Yeah. I could never expect you to think the way I think. It's because you've never been what I've been through. I can never fully understand how you think things, what your perspective is like, because I didn't grow up the way you grew up. Yeah. Right. The reason why people hate cops, people love cops, people love this, people love that. You know, these are all reasons why they grew up a certain way, why they feel these things. So for you to expect me to think exactly like you is going to be tough if we don't have that kind of conversation first, because none of us grew up the same. Yeah, you know? Exactly.
Absolutely. There are some names that I've written on this list. I don't know if you got the chance to look at it when I was in the shower. I came out a little bit late. I apologize for that.
It's all good.
But these are big figures in the masculinity space, okay? And I want to list them out to you. And I would like for you, I don't know if you know much about all of these people, maybe you know a bit about some of them.
Yep.
But they're quite famous names. So I wanted to see if you had any opinions.
Okay, fair enough.
And if you could rank.
Oh my gosh.
These 6 figures on who represents masculinity the best.
Right.
To the worst.
Right. Wow, that's crazy.
It's gonna be intense.
I give them the names. Let's
just
see what
for fun.
Let's see what we can do.
So here are the 6. We have Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, David Goggins, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump.
Okay.
So these are 6 figures. They all have differing opinions. They all have similar opinions. They have controversy. There's all these types of things, but something that they all have in common is that I think young men today are looking up to some, maybe a few, maybe all of these people. Yeah. So once again, if you need to, I can give you. I'll let you look at the list.
Please and thank you. Right. Okay.
Because there's criticism that maybe some of them aren't good role models for men. Maybe some are better than others. So I just wanted to know what you thought.
Okay, so like just looking at the names, like I have to put like a couple names just like close to the bottom, just because I don't really, I know of them, but I never really listened to them talk. So that'd be like a tough one. Like, I mean, like Elon Musk would go at the bottom, not saying like, bro, like come on, like he's just only at the bottom for me right now because I just haven't heard him speak too much. I've heard him a little bit, but not in depth in comparison to a couple of the other guys.
Got it.
You know, so I would put like Elon Musk at the bottom. I think even though Joe Rogan is pretty straight up too, but like he would probably be like the 5th, right? But like still respectable character. I listened to a little bit of his stuff and like, you know, he keeps it real too. Donald Trump would be 3rd, right? Honestly, like you have like, so, and here's what I appreciate too is that like now that we're on camera to do this is that you have controversial characters, like, you know, like what everyone, you say the name Donald Trump, there's a whole half of people be like, oh, that's crazy. But philosophy, like when you understand what philosophy really is, you have to sit with uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
Like not saying that he can make people uncomfortable, and like I'm saying that like we are all people. We are all prone to mistakes. We all do things. We all say things, right? Yeah. But if you can't take certain things what people say, then look, life's hard. Get a helmet. Yeah. You know, like. The world does not revolve around you. Right. Right. You either do what life gives you or you just back out. Yeah. You know, it's so tough. Like you find support systems, run your stuff, do what you want. But these conflicting perspectives will be here no matter where you go. And if you can't navigate through that, it's going to be tough. You know, so the reason why I could talk the way I talk and do the things I do is because I do and say whatever I want. Yeah. And if you got a problem with it, sit down, talk to me. Yeah. You know, like I have no problem connecting with people who like have conflicting perspectives. But here's what it is that when you sit with me, I mean to be in conversation, to be a challenger in conversation, you know, like to reinforce my ideals, to just speak my truth. And I want to learn from you to see how you hold up. Yeah. If you can speak your truth just as how I'm just trying to speak my truth, you know?
100%. So okay, Trump you would put fourth then?
Yeah, okay, so I'll go Elon Musk last, Joe Rogan second last, Donald Trump third. Fourth. Andrew Tate would be up top. Okay. And then Jordan Peterson would be like the close second. Okay. I put him first too, but like just right there. And then David Goggins would be third. But those top three that like those lists, Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, and David Goggins, I take inspiration from all of them. Got it. You know, Andrew Tate, I put like he is also another controversial character, but you listen to what he actually says, you know. Is that like, the first thing that people say about him is that like, oh, every time I see any kind of content about Andrew Tate, it's like, oh, he's a sex trafficker, he's like this. Right. Like, can you do a little bit of research? Just Google a little bit, see if he was charged, see if it was actually legit. Yeah. You know, like do your own research. Don't just start piling yourself onto people who are already ready to hate on him, you know? Right. He speaks a lot on what masculinity is, how to respect and love women. There's a reason why people also find it a little bit surprising that like I like listen to this guy and take inspiration from him. Yeah. It's like, oh, you? I'm like, yes, me. The reason why I am the way I am is because I revolved myself around messages about Andrew Tate and all these figures. Yeah. You know, to be able to take that messages and to incorporate it in myself and to be a loving and energetic and strong and supportive being. It's all about balance. It's all about balance, you know? Absolutely. So Andrew Tate speaks on like how to be a man, how to love women, to be hardworking, love your people, you know, like just, yeah, he has a lot of messages like that, you know, just be balanced. Like
there's a lot of misunderstanding around Andrew Tate.
Yeah. And like, so when it comes to that, like there's so many figures that want to speak like this, right? And people always hate on it because there's pushback. You know, there is a thing where, like, if you want to be a man for real, I felt like there has been a weird pushback about that. Yeah. But when we define what a real man is, like, I'm not going to get into that. But I talk about just what a man is, just like to be strong, to be dominant, like that. It's a scale, you know. We are multidimensional beings. You know, like if we're talking about gender is a scale, or like, you know, there's an infinite amount of genders, right? There's an infinite amount of how a man can be. Right. Don't play. Don't play. And that's for women too, right? Like if gender is like wide and widespread, there's
a spectrum.
If it's a spectrum, let it be known that men are also a spectrum.
A boy to man spectrum.
You know? Like just because you portray him this way, that doesn't mean he's not nothing else. Right. You know, I speak to men that, yo, you could be like, I conquer, I dominate, I run my stuff. When I step on the field, the football field, like you do not want to meet me because I love to hit. I love doing what I do. Yeah. I'm a passionate man when it comes to that. Like we were made to conquer, to dominate. But then the other side is knowing that I also love just the same, build and support you just the same, just as intense as I also look to hit people, you know, and to sit with that balance, right? And all those figures speak on that, you know, to find that balance, to know that, like, to be able to be dominant and to love, that's that balance. And so then if it's anything out of, like, what we take away from this, it's balance and it's energy, you know? And balance is like, you know, it's one word, but it like, you know, what does that mean? But I told you exactly what it is. It's be dominant, be conquering, run your shit, be confident, love yourself, be yourself, you know? Yeah. But then also love others, support, build, you know? So, and when you come to that balance, then it's like, it's pretty, I don't know, that's how I want to move.
That's awesome.
You know?
That is awesome. I think it's a very positive message. I'm looking forward to putting this episode out. And I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for doing this.
I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's King Hoang. Do you have any final thoughts, something you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just going to reiterate a couple of things that I already spoke about, like, today, is that, like, we are all just people just trying to make it, you know? There's never enough love in this world. There's a couple things that, like, I sit with knowing that, like, you were just trying to make it. You person, I don't know whoever's watching, listening to this, really. I know you going through things. I know it's not easy. I know life is hard. You know, I don't know the details that goes in your life, as you don't know what goes in our mind. But I know that the vision that you're trying to create for yourself is good. To be yourself, to love yourself, to be that good person for yourself, your family, the people that you want to surround yourself with, that vision that you want to create for yourself, it will be yours. It is yours. It's already there, technically, you know. You have to elevate your energy to the reality that you want to create for yourself. Almost you want to mirror yourself to be that person as if you already received those blessings. So when you understand that whatever you want comes towards you, you elevate yourself to that person who you already received it. You know, whatever you want out of your life, you pour love and light into this universe. Don't ask for nothing back. Don't expect nothing back. Because when the universe provides, when you've been doing nothing but love in this universe, it's going to come in ways that you never expected, you know? And so I'm not fighting with life right now. I'm allowing myself to flow with it. And, you know, my energy is up because it has to be, because I am elevating myself to be the best version I can be, as if I already received the blessings that I want in my life. Not just for myself, but all the people that I want to connect with and love. So I want to thank you for being able to give me the space to be able to talk the way I talk and to be able to connect with me. And we're just going to continue to build people, build bridges, and connect people, put people on. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're going to work, we're going to hustle, we're going to do our thing. We're going to put people on, we're going to run our thing. And, you know, that's just only a little bit.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, what an episode. I appreciate this. I understand what Jack was talking about when he says people surround you at the gym. If I was in the gym when you were making one of those speeches, I'd definitely come to listen. But now I got a prime seat. Yeah. So I look forward to getting this out, and hopefully the reception's good. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate what you had to say. So
I appreciate it so much. Thank you, brother. Yo, one more time.
Absolutely. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, like the interview, like the episode. It was great. If you want to go check out King's workout stuff, you can check him on Instagram. We'll tag him in the post. You should find it. Should be pretty easy. And yes, subscribe to the channel. We will see you next Sunday. Peace out.